It's Sunday, August 27th, 2023. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share this video all over the place. But I want to get right into this on this Sunday late afternoon. I've had a few people reach out to me and they wanted to thank me for changing their life, improving their life. And I want to be very clear. Thank you very much for the compliments, but I want to be very, very clear here. I'm not one of these people that will sit here and take any credit for changing anybody's life or improving anybody's life. That's not what I'm here for. I cannot change your life. I cannot make you change your life. I cannot make you improve your life. Only you can do that. Now, what I do here on a daily basis is I ask questions, and I ask that every one of you ask questions. Look yourself in the mirror and ask certain questions. Are you prepared? Do you have the mindset? Do you have the skill sets? If the lights went out for 30 days, do you have the food and water? Do you have the ability to protect your family? Can you do these things? I can't make you change. I can't make you stop an addiction, but I can ask you, why are you doing that when you know it's got negative consequences, when it's got negative consequences for you and your family, when you know it's going to destroy you mentally, physically, and spiritually? Why are you doing that? So I make these videos and I ask questions, and I want everybody to be asking themselves, can they do more? Can they get better prepared? Can they stop these addictions? Can they stand up to things that, like their addictions, these demons that just have them enslaved? And again, I can't make anybody do anything, but I can ask people to start thinking for themselves. And so, again, thank you to those people out there. I'm not going to take any credit for that because you did it. You did the work. I can't do anything other than just have people use some common sense and ask themselves why they're doing certain things or why they're not doing certain things. So I want to thank everybody for the compliments, but again, only you can make the change. Only you can ask yourself these questions. Only you can look yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, are you prepared? Can you survive? Do you have the skills? Do you have the mindset? Can you protect your family? Can you feed your family? These are the things we have to be doing on a daily basis now, asking ourselves, can we be stronger mentally, physically, and spiritually? Can we do more? Are we doing enough? These are the things we've got to be doing. You know, I know a lot of people will write me and always asking for the solutions, asking for the answers. And I don't always have the answers. I don't always have the solutions. But I want people to continue to think for themselves, to critically think for themselves, think outside of the box. I want people to get as self-reliant, self-sufficient as they possibly can, and stop relying on the system. Stop relying on other people for help. You have got to be as self-reliant as humanly possible now. It is so important, ladies and gentlemen. People ask, what can I do today? Well, one thing we all have to do now is we have got to get ahead. And how do we get ahead? One thing that I can think of right now is we got to make more money, because you're going to need money to buy the assets. You're going to need money to buy the food, the water, the security. You need money right now, and you need to make more money, and you have to spend less money at the same time. People like to make more money, and what do? They go out, they party more, they go to Vegas more, they buy more toys. You've got to really reel it in. You really got to have self-control now. When you make that money, you got to have capital put away. You got to have gold and silver put away. You got food and water put away. You have to have a way to protect this stuff. That costs money. You need security. So this is the time, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, to be building a war chest, because we are going to be heading into an economic war here. And you have got to have a war chest. If you don't, you're not going to win this war. And this is going to be a massive war, a massive financial war that we're heading into. And the people that don't have that war chest because they went out and they partied and they vacationed and they went in the Airbnbs and they bought a fancy car and all that, these people are going to be in very, very big trouble. So today, as I start this video, think for yourself. Get as independent and self-reliant as you possibly can. Build that war chest. Make more money. Spend less money. Buy the things that you really need. Gold, silver, food, water, security, training, and all the essentials. Medical, first aid kits, trauma kits, tourniquets, extra candles, extra batteries, things like that. Think like what you would need right now if the power went out for 30 days. What would you need that would make your life more comfortable if the power went out for 30 days? These are the things we have to be doing. It's not sexy. It's not exciting. But this is what is going to win the war here. This is what puts the survival rate and the odds in your favor, ladies and gentlemen. So build that war chest, start it immediately. Now, switching gears, getting into this first article from Fox Business. Popular summer vacation destinations across U.S. see uptick in vacancies. Vacation hotspots across the country saw vacancy rates as high as 20% this summer. Rental properties across the country have seen fewer bookings this summer compared to past years. People are running out of money. And instead of, taking an Airbnb this weekend, why not go buy some things, some essentials that you might need as times get worse? Prices are going to continue to go up on food, on gear, on security. Prices of literally everything is going to continue to go up. If you need something, if you know that you need something, you need to go get it now. They're beginning to get very, very nervous, ladies and gentlemen, and I've spoke about this countless times. Where's all the inventory? Well, a lot of the inventory is in these short-term rentals that these small investors, these mom and poppers went out and bought 2 or 3 houses on top of their own house. So some of these people have 2, 3, 4, 5 mortgages. And if these homes are not renting out short term, these people are in big trouble. And it's just a matter of time before we begin to see more and more of these investors and these mom and poppers run to the exits and start unloading these properties. And you're going to see inventory begin to climb. San Diego bookings this summer were down 8%. The Jersey Shore down 12%. Rosemary Beach, Florida was down 5%. Orlando, Florida, short-term bookings down 14%. Comment down below. Did you take a trip this summer? Look, no, if you can afford to do it, by all means. But did some of you just say, hey, we're not going to do it this summer. Money's tight. We're going to put it somewhere else, or we're just going to save it, and we're just going to not do a trip this summer. I think a lot of people, according to this article, did not take a trip this summer, or they cut the trip short. Maybe instead of doing 2 weeks, they did 1 week. Instead of doing a week, they did a weekend, something like that. But I think a lot of Americans just said, hey, we just can't do it, either because we need to take that money and put it away, or we are tapped out already. We just can't afford to do it. So let me know if you took a trip this summer, and if you did, was it worth it? How was the Airbnb? Did you notice anything where you were vacationing? Was it busy? I can tell you this summer, it's very, very hot out here, but the town is very, very quiet. And even though this is not our season, it does not seem that busy. And I think a lot of vacation areas across the country would probably say that the numbers are down. Here's one from The Hedge today. The Airbnb bubble popping will pop the housing bubble, without a doubt. Here's how you can tell. It says, if a speculative bubble is a bubble. The answer, everyone says it isn't a bubble. There's the answer. There's no shortage of homes. We have a concentration of home ownership between wealthy and investors. And a lot of this money is sitting in these short-term rentals, these Airbnb homes, and it's wealthy people who have second and third homes, or wealthy people who have some Airbnbs, and it's investors, many mom and pop, small-time investors who got into this rental business or the hotel business, thinking that it was a sure hit, that nothing could go wrong, and they're going to learn a valuable lesson here. Mark my words. These people are going to learn a valuable lesson. Could you imagine having 2 Airbnbs, 2 mortgages, and then your own mortgage, 3 mortgage payments that you have to make? And now, as the discretionary spending is vaporizing, disappearing, where's the money going to come from? Who's going to rent all these short-term properties? In many parts of the country, there are more Airbnbs on the market than listings. That's going to change, because once a few investors which they're beginning to realize that there is a fire starting, then there is a fire sale. And once a few investors, typically it's like 4% of the market says, hey, we're out of here, and they start unloading properties, that's going to influence the price. And it's going to influence everybody else to get out. But once a small handful of investors goes, hey, we got to get out, we're going to get out quick, and they begin to lower prices, then what does that do to the prices of everybody else that's still in the market? It's going to push prices down. And now these are going to be the latest comps. Now these homes are going to have to sell for what these first investors sold the homes for, because now when everybody else realizes they need to sell, well, guess where the comps are? From the first group of people that just sold. And so let's say a house is $800,000 and an investor said, hey, the market's really slow, I'm having a hard time, been on the market a while, dump it at 650. Now everybody at 800 ain't selling at 800. They got to sell at 650. The house has got to comp, or the bank is not going to loan the money. So we're going to see, I think, a race to the bottom here in the next year. But I think what is really going to start the housing crash, and there are people, watching people today, that believe there will be no housing crash. I highly disagree, because once this Airbnb and the short-term rental properties come out of the market, and you begin to see a uptick in inventory, and of course all the new home construction that's going on, you're going to have a surge of inventory, and you're going to have a very limited group of people who can qualify to buy these homes. And then also take into account that we are literally watching thousands of people a day lose their jobs. And when you don't have a job, it doesn't matter what the price of the house is, you cannot buy a home. You cannot qualify to buy a home. You are broke. You don't have a job. And in fact, if you may have a home, you're going to have to sell it, and you're going to have to sell it quick. So we're really watching a sinking ship here, and it is going to begin to take on a lot more water much quicker. The simple case for favoring real assets over financial ones. This also on the hedge. Low rates push up asset prices. High rates push asset prices down. It says here, you must realize the Fed is kidding itself that it will avoid a recession. Does anybody believe? First off, I believe that we've been in a recession. By the time they tell you and I that we're in a recession, then you know we are officially in a depression. They're going to torpedo the U.S. economy, ladies and gentlemen. The Fed is going to torpedo the U.S. economy. This may be an opportunative time to consider real assets versus financial assets, especially due to the fact that they're cheap right now. Now, if you ask me, I think gold and silver is on sale. That's just my opinion. I don't give financial advice. Versus stocks that we know are completely overvalued because we had so much cheap money out there. Rates were so cheap, and it pushed the stock market way up. It pushed these valuations way up. And very, very soon, doesn't mean tomorrow, but at some point, we're going to find out the true valuations of stocks, bonds, land, housing, cars, boats, commercial real estate, office buildings, hotels, you name it. We are going to find out the real valuations. And it is going to be very, very bad news for a lot of people, especially people who are in commercial real estate or in residential real estate, because all of this has been propped up over the last few years. You know, somebody asked me, gold didn't do much over the last 2 years. It's up. But gold is up. But what they don't take into consideration is the $7 trillion that kicked this can down the road. When you pump in $7 trillion, give everybody a stimmy, give everybody benefits over a 30-month period, and gold is still up over the last 2 years. Yeah, maybe it's not at 3,000 or 5,000, but look what they had to do to suppress gold and silver. Look what they had to do to keep the patient alive. They had to inject another $7 trillion. Ladies and gentlemen, gold and silver is not going anywhere. And I don't buy, personally me, I don't buy gold or silver to go, oh, I hope it goes up next year, or it better go up in 2 years. I buy it for emergency. I buy it for exactly what is taking place right now. The printing of massive amounts of cash, the fact that we kept interest rates at near zero for over a decade, the fact that you had the Fed buying mortgage-backed securities in a housing boom, creating a housing bubble on steroids, and the Fed in there buying stocks. So sooner or later, all this will come to a head and it will collapse. And the thing is, do you want to be holding paper or do you want to be holding metal? Me personally, I would much rather be holding metal. But people love to just say, well, gold hasn't gone to 5,000, it hasn't gone to 3,000, it hasn't gone to 10,000. Why should it? They're still printing money. It will have its day, in my opinion, because this is not going to be able to continue. This is unsustainable. So, you know, if you feel like you need to invest in cryptos, if that's going to be the saving grace for you, then, you know, by all means, invest in cryptos. Me personally, I think gold is probably the place to be. Silver will come along for the ride. I know people ask me, why don't I talk about silver? Silver is more volatile, and you have central banks stockpiling gold. Now, I think that silver is the poor man's gold, and I do believe it is going to come along for the ride, and I think it's going to really do incredibly well. If you can't afford to buy gold, then you should be buying silver. But I have both, and I think that you need to be diversified, and you should probably own both. But again, I don't give financial advice. I'm sharing with you what I'm doing, what my close personal friends are doing, what family members that are in my circle are doing. You, again, as we started this video, you have got to ask yourself questions. You have got to think for yourself. You could be in a whole different situation. You live somewhere else in the world or in the country. Your family dynamics is different. Your financial situation is different. So everything's a little bit different, but you've got to think about worst case scenario. If something happens to the dollar, we know now we have the BRICS 11. What does that mean? Should you be completely invested in paper and dollars and stocks? I don't think so, but that's up to you. But these are just questions, and you really got to ask yourself these questions. I think you should be as diversified as possible, but right now, I look at what's on sale, and I believe gold and silver is on sale. Now, also, we've been hearing a lot about the problems in China. Now, I think before we worry about what's happening in China, we better worry about our problems and our trouble right here in our own financial abyss, our own financial mess right here. Now, I don't know why they want us to worry so much about China when we are the biggest debtor nation, we are a bankrupt nation, and we have probably the most manipulated market on planet Earth, and yet they want us to worry about China. Ladies and gentlemen, you better start worrying about what's happening right here, and even more so, you better worry about what's happening in your own household. Are you prepared? Is your family prepared? Shifting gears here a little bit, let's get back into what's happening with this social collapse we're watching take place. And the more the economy collapses, the more society is going to collapse. Mob of mass thieves clear out shelves at Los Angeles Macy's as stunned shoppers look on. 12:30 p.m. on Thursday, 9 individuals walked in to a Macy's at Westfield Fashion Square, Sherman Oaks, California, a very affluent area, and they took thousands of dollars of merchandise. Now, at some point, we're going to see more stores close down. Who do you think really pays for this? The stores, you know, have insurance. Yes, insurance cost goes up. That gets passed on to you. So when you go to Macy's and buy a shirt or a jacket, the cost goes up because you got to pay the higher insurance. At some point, we're going to see more and more stores to say it's not worth it. We're closing down. Then these cities are going to lose this massive tax base. Then these anchor stores in these malls, when they leave, the entire mall goes. Then you have people just losing their jobs. Then they lose their homes. They lose their cars. It's a total trickle-down effect, a massive spider web where everything is connected. And, you know, just a handful of thieves, the damage that they're doing to cities, the damage that they're doing to households, the damage that they're doing to individuals, to just the everyday life of people who just go to those malls and just want to shop and not have to deal with this stuff. It's really, really sad what is happening. And people just believe that, oh, insurance will pay for it, no problem. We're going to see more of these stores close. Here's another one. Man brings motorcycle on New York subway. You can Google this. It's all over the internet. And he gets mad at the other riders on the train. So he has a dirt bike. And this is where we're at today with society, that people just take their dirt bikes onto a New York subway, block the doors. People can't get in the train. They can't get on the train. They can't get out of the train. They're having to squeeze by it. And he's upset because people are not happy with it. And he starts lashing out that he's not moving his bike. And he weighs about 90 pounds. So have you ever seen anything like this? Go back 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Have you ever seen anything like this? This is the sickest economy, the weakest economy I've seen in my lifetime. When we talk about what's happening in society, this is probably the most sick-minded society I have ever seen in my life, hands down, without a doubt. The types of crime that we're seeing, the disrespect for people, for law enforcement, for property, for businesses, it's disgusting. And it's going to get worse. That's the thing. So think for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Think for yourself. What happens when the stores close? Then the grocery stores will close because they will have robbed all those. Where do you think these people are going to go next? You have a house. Maybe you live in a nice neighborhood. You have some nice things. They're not going to go to areas where people don't have nice things. They're going to go to areas like Sherman Oaks, like they've done, Beverly Hills, South Coast Plaza, Gucci. They're going to go to the nice places where they can get nice things. And you may live in a nice neighborhood and you may feel safe today, but you better think about when they have no other place to go to, they're going to go to your house. Ask yourself, are you prepared to deal with that? Are you able to protect yourself, your family, your assets? I mean, this is getting very real, ladies and gentlemen. If we were talking about this, 10 or 20 years ago, I would say you're crazy. But this is now happening on a daily basis. I mean, we could probably spend 2 hours and just talk about the amount of robberies that have taken place in the last couple of weeks. And it would take hours to just go over all the news. Everything that's happening on the subways, everything that's happening at the malls, everything that's happening at all these jewelry stores, the home invasions, the car thefts, it just goes on and on. I mean, it would take hours. We don't have enough time in the day. So think for yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Do not rely on the system to protect you or save you. They will not be there for you. You'd be lucky if you could get the police to your house in 10 to 15 minutes. You probably live in a good area if you can get a police officer to your house in 10 to 15 minutes. More than likely, on average, it'd probably take 20 minutes plus. Imagine what could happen to you or a family member in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Some areas, many of the cities, going to take you over an hour if you're even lucky to get an officer. We are going to continue to watch this country go down a very, very dark, deep hole. And I don't know if we're ever going to get out of it. But in the meantime, all we can do is take one day at a time and do the best that we can to prepare and protect what we have. And I hope that you're all doing that. If you're not, please, I beg of you, please start immediately. If nothing ever happens, you have food, you have water, you have a way to protect yourself. You have assets. Wonderful. None of that stuff will ever be worth zero. Your skills will never be worth zero. But unfortunately, many of you, like myself, believe that we're not going to avoid this disruption, that we are heading straight into a massive depression, a massive collapse, and a massive breakdown of society. And so you have to be prepared spiritually. This is spiritual warfare. You have to be prepared financially. You're going to need capital to get through this stuff. There's going to be opportunity too. Physically, you need to be in the best shape of your life. We could all be working harder, myself included. So we need to be doing this. But again, spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, get your mind clear. If you have addictions, deal with them now and get rid of them immediately. End it right now. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your family. This is no time to mess around, to joke around. We are heading into some serious stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. This is serious business. God bless. Have a good weekend. As always, I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But it's just shocking, the stuff that I'm reading daily, the stuff that you're reading daily. Comment down below about anything you want to comment about, anything we can add to our preparations, anything that we can be adding to our skill sets, please comment down below. So many people read those comments, and it means so much to so many people, and you've woken up so many people. God bless.